Today, we've got Temur Ignis combo, so we will be using the Grinning Ignus and pairing that with Birgi, the god of storytelling, in order to give us infinite cast triggers on the Ignis. And then we are going to pair that with either a Devilish Valet for insane amounts of power, or a Witty Roastmaster in order to give us ping damage combo potential. Now, this deck is also a Collected Company deck, and it's also got crazy cool elemental combos to balance out the deck whenever it's not going off with the Ignis. This deck is really tearing it up on the ladder right now. It's quickly becoming my favorite deck, and it's genuinely the most fun I've had on Explorer in probably a month. I am loving this deck. You guys are going to get to see the kinds of crazy shenanigans we get to do. Now, it looks like we're probably playing against a Greasefang deck of some kind, so let's see if we can do something in order to prepare ourselves for that. We've got Birgi and our Ignis in hand, so we're slowly setting up all the things that we might need in order to go off on a combo. We're just looking for that last combo piece. So I'm going to go ahead and get down an Elvish Mystic here so that we can potentially get that Collected Company prepared next turn, and that's going to allow us to dig deeper for that combo piece we need. As I mentioned, the combo piece we need to complete this cycle of 3 will either be a Devilish Valet, which doubles its power every single time we put another creature down, or it's also going to be a Witty Roastmaster, which every time we cast a creature spell, that does a damage to our opponent, which can also win on the combo. So we're going to see an Ashiok Dream Render from our opponent here. We cannot search our libraries. Now, I don't think that stops Collected Company. This will be interesting because we're not searching. We're just looking at the top. We're looking at the top 6. So that is going to be an interesting interaction. And I think I'm willing to hold off here and use the Collected Company on the instep, looking for the last piece of that combo. Not hitting land number 3, a little bit of a problem, but I think we can recover from that just fine. So let's see what our opponent has in store. Usually I feel like you don't see Ashiok whenever you play against a Greasefang deck, but they could be using it to mill themselves. So it could be not a Greasefang deck, but just rather a Dimir Graveyard deck, which is my guess. So they're probably running something like Ebon Death in there. They've got these Stitcher Suppliers, so I'm not sure exactly what their win con is, but we can see pretty obviously what they're going for here as they're looking for some kind of great card out of the graveyard. And it could just be sort of a value deck. Silver Smoke Ghoul pretty quickly gets to just come onto the battlefield for free. I think this is the point we want to go ahead and hit that Collected Company. Probably don't even need to block the Stitcher Supplier. Let's see. We could get out the Steam-Kin to try to get into a little sort of ramp situation with the Ignis here. So let's go ahead and do that. And we get to pick 2, so I didn't even have to think about it. I got caught up thinking about it when it didn't even really need to. Yes, we will put a land onto the field tapped, absolutely. We'll take another Grinning Ignus, that doesn't hurt us. And then we'll just let this Stitcher Supplier go through. No need to do anything more than that. And then let's go ahead. What is the play here? We do need to get Birgi out in order to set up our combo. We also could put out the Ignis, which allows us to sort of kind of pseudo ramp next turn. And we also have a second Ignis, which we can protect. They probably have some kind of removal we should probably be looking out for. So I think I like the play of putting the Ignis down. That puts a counter on the Steam-Kin to help us ramp next turn. It's also an elemental, so we get to draw a card. Our opponent does get to see that, I believe. Look at the top card. Okay, so they don't get to see that, so that's good. We'll go ahead and use that 1 extra mana just to get down this extra Mystic because it doesn't hurt us, gains us a life. And then we are just going to hold off right there. Really, you don't even have to do much attacking with this deck just because it does so well just getting your combo out. So, see a Scarab God, so maybe this is actually a zombie deck it's looking like. Didn't quite realize that. If I would have paid a little closer attention, probably could have figured that out, but I don't think it's anything that we really need to be too concerned about. I think we're doing just fine here as we get started. Okay, we do see the landfall. I think we're just kind of waiting. Nothing too big here that I'm really super concerned about. We see the ghoul does come down. Now here's what I was talking about. I think we can bounce this Ignus to create enough mana to play Birgi. And then once we get Birgi, we get this play, we gain a life, and then we put down the Ignus, and we now have infinite Birgis going off. And then I think we've set up the win, because the Risen Reef will continue to put in cards tapped and draw us cards. And then the Runaway Steam-Kin is going to ramp us, and we're just going to keep drawing cards until we draw our Devilish Valet or our Witty Roastmaster. So this is the game. The deck works perfectly. You can see it didn't even really matter what our opponent did. It is a little funny when you get to this point, but we have sealed up the win. As long as the Roastmaster or the Devilish Valet are not both at the very, very bottom of the deck, which is unlikely, then we do get the win, because we can just continuously do this until we get everything we need. We're going to go ahead and continue to put lands onto the battlefield tapped. We're going to continue to net mana, and we're really just waiting for that Devilish Valet. So we're just going to keep rolling. Our opponents sometimes will just give up, but it's smart of them to wait for a win con. That is a smart play. Let's see. We could use that to increase our speed to get there, but it doesn't really help us. So we're going to keep going with this combo until we draw exactly what we need. And a Nylea is quite nice, but we don't really even need it here either. We just need the Witty Roastmaster or the Devilish Valet. We run one copy of each, so we will have to do a little digging, but I'm confident we will find it eventually. So we're just going to keep going, keep drawing. It's so fun. The elemental synergies is absolutely amazing and hilarious. But we do have this game sealed up, and we're just digging for the end. So I'm going to stop talking now. You guys can watch the loop, or you can skip ahead to the end of this game if you do prefer to do it that way. Okay, and this is another way we can get there. So we can actually go ahead, well, and we are out of colors, unfortunately. We are one blue mana away from being able to Neoform any of our 2-drops, which right now is the Runaway Steam-Kin. So unfortunately, we are a single blue mana away from doing that. That is a little sad, but that's fine. We can get around it. We just got to keep digging until we get our cards, which is totally fine. There's a coming. I'm going to bring here. Just to do this. Just a little faster than these. Neither of these are going to do this. Let's just take 0. Put those on. Make sure our bottom 6 are not cards that I missed. So that actually might come in handy as we look for those pieces. And there it is. That is exactly what we need. And we put out our Devilish Valet. And then now we just cast the Ignus enough times until we get up to, you know, a solid 30 damage or whatever we need to push through here. It is trample and haste, so that is how the deck gets its final win here. And now we just start doubling. This is when it starts to get fun. You start to get to see that number grow and grow and grow. So we go from 2, and we go to 4. Done. Next. Hit the Ignus again. Go to 8. Amazing. This deck is so fun, guys. You really have to try it. It's a little not fun to watch once you get to this point, but it's incredibly fun to play, to set up the puzzle pieces you need to finish it off. It's very cool. Unfortunately, our opponent is not interested in helping us out here and conceding, but, you know, more power to them. They made us show the win con, but we did show the win con here, so I'm not exactly sure why they're not interested in conceding. They're just really enjoying playing this out. So I'm going to be safe and go up to 64 just to make sure I've got plenty of trample damage. Wrong spell there. Let's go Ignus one more time, and then now we are ready to go. Thank you, Wolverine, for sticking around to really let me show how the deck truly works and what you need to do to get those wins. So, and thank you for watching that whole game. Let's check it in game 2. But this was really awesome. At this point, I might as well wait for the little victory screen just because it's so rewarding. Let's see if they're going to block. They probably just left, though. Alright, going first, we see all of our colors and 2 lands. Plus, we've got that Llanowar Elf to ramp us to 3. Really, once you get to 3 mana, you can kind of do everything you need except for Collected Company. So I actually am interested in keeping this hand, despite it being a little weird on lands, guaranteeing that we're going to have a turn 3 mana for Monument or Risen Reef is enough to make me go ahead and want to keep this. So we're going to go ahead and put this down. I think the play here is we could reduce our spells by 1, or we could start drawing some cards with the Risen Reef. So I think I want to set up that card draw situation first. Drawing into a Nylea is very good here as well. This also does the cost reduction kind of things that we need that we could get from Birgi. This is just one more way to get it because all creature spells we cast cost 1 less, which is really, really nice, honestly. Unfortunate that we didn't hit there the land, but we can go ahead and put down an Ignus, and I like doing that because it's going to draw us a card or find us a land, so that's pretty good. Neoform is fine. That actually can come in handy later. Basically, we're just trying to get to our combo before they put out enough things to kill us. So Ignus is probably going to be a threat there, but I was interested in trying to set up our draw and our lands first. Hearted Scales, really cool deck. It's kind of card that's been around forever, and it could cause us some problems here, but let's see what we can find. Okay, still not hitting what we need. So I think I want to put down the Steam-Kin, get another elemental on the board. Then we'll have 1 green mana to work with. But I think that's the play. Draw us a card. Really digging for lands here. Again, no land. Really unfortunate. We can go ahead and set up the 4 mana play, though. So that will be good. Both of these I want to keep alive. So we can go ahead and get in for that damage. Probably fine to toss away a Steam-Kin here if they get something really big. Elvish Mystic I do need to keep alive because that's the way we're going to set up our Collected Company. So they're going to put just so many counters on everything. For now, 4 not going to kill us, so we're going to leave this available. Birgi is pretty good as well. So do we put down a Birgi? If we put down a Birgi, can we live 1 more turn? I think so. I think we go Birgi because that puts up our whole combo here. And then let's just leave everything available for blocking. And then next turn, with the Risen Reef out, we saw in our last game how effective that can be at drawing into whatever we need. And with the Runaway Steam-Kin, if they don't do any removal and they don't kill us, I think we win. I think we get to do exactly what we did in our last game. I'm nervous about some kind of combat trick, so I am going to just throw away this Elvish Mystic. I think that's fine. And then there we finally see that land. Not going to be too important here. I guess we'll hold on to it for a moment just in case we would need something specific. So we go ahead and start our little combo, and we start looking for that last piece that we need. Not going to do it with Thunderkin Awakener. You guys know the drill now. We just start playing Ignuses, until we get either a Devilish Valet or until we hit that lovely Witty Roastmaster. So if they don't have any instant speed interaction, we do have this game on lock. And it's just a matter of time. So I will maybe do a little speed loop here and just be quiet and show the little combo in maybe 2 or 3 X. Well, I don't even need to speed it up because there is our Valet. So we get to put this down. And so I'm not going to speed up this part of the video. And our opponent does scoop. That's 2-0 on the day. Let's keep going. Okay, a little bit of an awkward start with no 2-drops, but having a Birgi and a Risen Reef plus all of our colors is good enough for me to be willing to keep that, and especially being on the draw here, we have a little higher chance of drawing into one of our mana dorks if we need to. So let's go ahead and start with the Stomping Ground, save us some life, and then we'll go from there. We'll probably go ahead and get down a blue source next turn just so that we set up all of our colors. And it is going to be a little bit of a slower start for the deck, but I think that's okay. Double Risen Reef is going to put in a lot of work, and we're also going to have the option of just going Risen Reef into Nylea, which is, now that I'm talking out loud, probably more of the play. Let's go ahead and get down another green. Let's get down a Risen Reef. It's just a big enough threat they might consider removing it and protect our other spells. And we really have a lot of good options now. We can go into Nylea, we can go into a Collected Company. I'm feeling quite good here. Nissa is going to start to accrue value, but their deck, being Simic, is probably going to be a little slow, so they're not going to really just pop off and win out of nowhere. which is good for us. So let's go ahead. I think our play here will be to go ahead and... what do we want to do? I think we set up... I think we just go Collected Company. That really seems like the right way to go. That'll get out the most value, and then from there we can go next turn and see whether we need a Birgi or a Nylea. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to Collected Company next turn. See where that gets us. Potentially hits us another Elemental to start drawing us even more cards. Cultivate here is totally fine. Not worried about that at all. That's just going to take some mana. They're going to get Nissa up, but I think we're going to be pretty well. Being in Simic, unless they're running a bounce spell, they probably don't have too much removal. They may have a Frilled Mystic. That would be about all I could think of that could stop us or slow us down here. But like I said, we do hit a Ignis, which is pretty nice. Yep, that's also great. Don't need any blockers here. And then let's see if we have the win. We do have all of the pieces we need, I think. So we can put down the Birgi. They do have 4 mana up, but no counter magic. And then, as always, plus the Risen Reef should be enough to get us everything we need. Let's see. Now we also can just go ahead and seal the deal. We've got 2 extra mana for our Steam-Kin, so that's going to be fantastic. And now, just like all those other games, we're going to have the exact same win con. So let's go ahead and do the speed up and get to the combo. So unfortunately, it looks like my game has completely crashed or disconnected or something. So either you're going to see a cut to the next video because this didn't work out, but we did see that we would have sealed the win just like last time. Or if it does get back to working, I'll show you the combo. So cut. Alright, so unfortunately that last game didn't turn out well for us, but we've got a decent starting hand here. We've got all of our colors. We've got a 2-drop plus a Neoform, so it could be cool to see the Neoform play actually come in. But let's go ahead and start with this red source here. We're going to go for that turn 2 Grinning Ignus. Should be good. Let's see if we can keep going. I mean, technically, I probably lost that game because I had to close out of Arena completely. Couldn't even concede. It was pretty weird. We're going to count it as 3-0. You guys could tell where we were going. Nope, stop. My dog loves to eat my carpet in here. He's being really weird. So here's my assistant, Whiskey. Say hello, buddy. So he's my pal. We're hanging out today, making this video. Now he's licking my microphone like a little weirdo. But like I said, this deck is going really well. It's extremely, extremely fun. I feel like I had been working on it for a pretty long time. I was playing mono red. Actually, very first video on the channel, if you go back, is a mono red Birgi combo. Before we had the Devilish Valet. But I had not considered, and then I saw people trying to play around with the combo plus Collected Company, which obviously makes perfect sense. And then finally, this list came around adding blue and adding the elemental synergies, and this is by far the best version of the Grinning Ignus Birgi combo that I've seen. So it just makes a lot of sense. And it's just so fun to play. So anyway, the point I was getting to there, I had a point was, if you try this deck, I'm actually not sure what the skill curve is for it, because I had been working on it and trying to figure out how to play it for a while, but I think it's actually fairly straightforward. You get to just get your combo out. You don't even really need to worry about damage. You just try to do the minimal amount of blocking, kind of until you have to block. But once again, we set up this perfect little combo here. Next turn, as long as everything lives, I think we get the win. Now, they do have black, and so they have a good chance of having some instant speed removal here. Destroy target artifact or enchantment, not worried about that. the Gem Razor, going to put something on tap. With mono green, I can't think of a single spell that would, unless there's a mono green fight spell out there, I think we're going to get another win here. So let's go ahead, pop out our Grinning Ignus, and then we do the combo, and let's initiate fast forward. Oh, you know what? I'm a silly goose. I don't have a Risen Reef out, so there's no need for the fast forward just yet. But I will show you a neat play we can do here. Despite the fact that we don't have a win con out, we get to play, first off, we get to play all of our red cards for sure. But we also get to pump out Jegantha, so that's pretty cool. So we just go until we have enough mana. You need 3 to put them in hand, so we can go ahead and do that safely. You gotta be a little careful that you make sure you manage your mana well, so that you always have enough. But as long as you wait until Grinning Ignus is on the battlefield to cast your spells, you can't mess up. So the way you mess up is by playing Jegantha or whatever card you're trying to play with Ignus in hand. But as long as you do it this way, because whenever you cast whatever spell, you're going to have the mana you need to bounce it back. So we're going to go ahead and pop out Jegantha with Ignus on the field. Very key whenever you're trying to figure out your mana. Just do it with Ignus on the field. That's my biggest probably pro tip for this deck. So we're not going to put the combo up yet, but we are doing things. We don't want to just do this forever until make our opponent try to concede. Obviously, they're getting bored, but that's fine. We are actually making plays. So I get that it's frustrating to play against a deck like this, and I do get that that sucks, and I don't want to win by stalling people out. So I'm only going to be doing the loop whenever I actually have something to do. But I get why our opponent's frustrated here. They might not understand that, but it's worth it to me to play out enough so that I can play my Jegantha. And then also I want to go ahead and get this Thunderkin Awakener out just because that's what we can do. We have that option. And then if they decide to destroy the Ignus, then we get a chance to bring this back. Well, maybe he can't bring the Ignus back, but he could bring back an Elemental. So, and then we're going to put Jegantha out. And then because I've got 2 Ignuses, I'm actually going to leave 1 Ignus out and 1 Ignus in hand. So, I understand our opponent is frustrated, but I don't really care. And then we don't really even care about chip damage at this point. So we could, you know what, let's just go ahead and get full max value. Let's turn our Steam-Kin into a 4/4, and then we are going to finally pass the turn here to our opponent. I wasn't really thinking, obviously they know that, but good luck to you. They definitely need to find some removal here. And then now we do actually have the win set up because we're going to get our blue and green mana up, and this Neoform is going to get us what we need, as long as they don't have something that fights. Okay, we're going to see here. They're going to get some things out. That's fine. 9 is not enough to get us the L. Let's see what they do here. They've got 3 mana available. Okay, perfect. And then we can go ahead and let's pop this off. Just get our extra mana. Let's hit the Steam-Kin with the Neoform. They might be saving some kind of removal for us. We'll see what they've got. 3 mana, they could definitely have something. But we're going to Neoform, bring out this Devilish Valet, and then we start the combo. And then now they see the win con, and let's see if they're interested in conceding or if they think they've got enough to beat us here. Alright, and now we've got the moment of truth. I think 128 with Trample should be enough damage as long as they don't have removal. We do want to just protect ourselves in case they do have the removal, so we're just going to swing the 1 solo Devilish Valet. 128 power, 4 toughness, Trample, haste. So incredible. I freaking love this card. It's so fun. Let's see if they've got it. Let's see if they've got it for us or not. I feel like they don't, or they would have used something by now already. They're being a little salty. They had to sit through our whole combo. I get it. It's annoying, but they had the option of conceding. So maybe they've got a fog. Maybe they've got prevent all combat damage. That would be absolutely hilarious, but I don't think they do. I think they're trolling. I think they know that we beat them with our sick combo deck, and now we just wait and see if we get the final trampled damage through while we wait for their timeouts to run out. I do deserve it. We're playing this deck, so you gotta kind of go in with the mindset that your opponents might get salty and do things like this, but that's okay. It's worth it to get 128 power on a creature. Holy cow, that was so fun. Now, before we go, let's jump to the deck recap for the day. Alright, so here we are with the entire list. Let's start by looking at the main 4 of cards. Obviously, we're running 4 Birgi, God of Storytelling. We saw why this is so important. It creates that red mana. It creates the loop with our 4 of Grinning Ignus, the Elemental, which is absolutely amazing. Also, 4 of Risen Reef. I think actually really important in the deck. At first, I thought it was kind of a side thing to have the Elementals out, but actually Risen Reef, as it gets you that card draw to where if you have these 3 out, you get to actually go through your whole deck. Extremely important in the deck, and it's a perfect synergy. And then, as I mentioned, our 2 win cons, we have 1 Witty Roastmaster and 1 Devilish Valet. Now, I actually just have 1 copy of the Valet. I think the Valet is slightly better just because it protects you from decking yourself out. But if you want to do this deck as budget as possible, you could actually just run 2 Witty Roastmasters would be fine. So either one gets the job done. But there is the small chance if you have the Risen Reef out, well, I guess it actually just looks at you're not drawing. So either way, I think you're fine. You can go with the Roastmaster. It just takes a tiny bit longer, which I kind of like in this deck because it takes so long to have that extra Valet. But anyway, I digress. And then we have 1 Nylea. It's kind of a backup Birgi because it reduces your cost by 1, and so it kind of just helps you do some fun things. 4 Collected Company. These are the rares. It's a card that's in all kinds of decks, so it's really worth crafting. It can be used in other places. But 4 Collected Company, extremely important for the deck. You guys saw the kinds of shenanigans it can do. It can get you 2 of your combo pieces out. It's just really good. And then bottom in, just kind of setup cards, 3 Runaway Steam-Kin I was very impressed with. It paired well with the Risen Reef combo to actually help us finish on the same turn. 1 Thunderkin Awakener. I didn't even use this card today, so maybe this is a potential cut, but I can see games where that pulls out a Risen Reef and is really important. I think Prosperous Innkeeper out of 3 of is a pretty solid keep. I think you keep those right there. Set you up with that treasure token for ramp, and getting that incremental life gain sometimes buys you that 1 extra turn that you need. 4 Neoform, I think also really worth keeping. It pairs nicely to turn any of these 2-drops into that last combo piece you need, so I don't think I would change that either. And then 6 of the 1 mana Dorks. I mean, it just sets up everything you want. You can get one of these out turn 2. It can help you go into a Risen Reef turn 2. Super good. Jegantha in the sideboard, actually pretty cool because it pairs well with the Steam-Kin. You get to crank it out sometimes just kind of as a bonus, which is pretty cool. And then for lands, we've got 21, and really just run all of the duels you can have. I did find room for 1 Boseiju and then 2 basics, but you really want to hit your colors here. And so if you've got the dual lands to go as much color as you can, that's really great. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to check out another video you might like, look right up there or over there somewhere, probably over there, at the recommended video that YouTube has for you. You are a true champion, and I thank you for sticking around this whole time with me, my friend. Have a great day.